my name is Sarah Crossan and I am the author of the novel Here is the Beehive. Here is the Beehive opens with a solicitor called Anna Kelly who gets a call from a woman to say that her husband has passed away and that Anna wrote up his will. And very soon in this conversation, Anna realises that the man that this woman is referring to is the man that she has been having an affair with for the past 3 years. And so the book opens with this bombshell in Anna's life, that she has lost the person who was her lover and that she now is left to grieve for this man and to grieve for this relationship that was a complete secret from the entire world. The book takes place in parallel narratives. So we have the perspective of Anna in the past, and we see how this relationship began, how it progressed, how it destroyed her. And then we have it in the present tense, and we see what the grief of this relationship does to her, and how, again, it destroys her and shatters her life. The novel is written in free verse. So if you were to open it, you might go, ah, because it looks like poetry. And I think that can be something that frightens people a little bit when they first open the book. But I will try and reassure you that it's not a taxing read, that it is a novel that should be read very, very quickly. I hope that it can be read in 1 or 2 sittings because it's in verse. It's actually 28,000 words, and I think that many pages, it would normally be sort of 60, maybe 80,000 words, a novel that kind of looks this length. So it's in free verse, which means it mimics speech. So there's no difficulty to it. I do hope there are the odd poetic devices that I've managed to use. But I think that the way that verse works propels the narrative, allows the reader to read it a lot more quickly, and in those white spaces are moments for the reader to reflect, and hopefully all that it means is that the novel has been pared down to its essential elements, so there are no boring bits. The reason that I wrote like this, and I have been writing like this for quite a long time, that this is my first foray into adult literature, is that I read a book many years ago, I think about 12 years ago now, called Out of the Dust by Karen Hesse. And this won the Newbery Medal in the 1980s. And as you see, this too is a novel in verse. And I was teaching 6th grade in the States at the time, and I was looking for a novel that they would love and that they would be excited about. And one of my co-workers said, how about trying Out of the Dust? And I looked at it and thought, oh my gosh, it's in verse. There's no way children will want to read that. And they absolutely loved it, and I absolutely loved it. And so this is what got me hooked on verse. And just like, in the way that I described my own novel, which I hope a person will be able to whiz through, I absolutely whizzed through this. So that's a book for children, but it was a book that really inspired the way that I write. Another book that I read many years ago, and this is an old version of it, is an old edition, is Jeanette Winterson's The Passion. This is a poetic book, and yet it's written in prose, and it is told in two different voices, but it opens with the chef for Napoleon, who is kind of in love with Napoleon, thinks Napoleon's a really great guy, and then it also has stories from the perspective of a character called Villanelle, who's from Venice and works in the casinos and falls in love, but gets tricked by her lover into doing something that she probably shouldn't have done. And it's a book about heartbreak. It's a book about idolizing somebody and being heartbroken by a person you idolize. And in a way, I think that's how my book feels to me as the writer, and maybe to the reader, is that it's about heartbreak and lies and promises and the destruction of those things, and when trust is broken, what happens to a person? How do they recover from that? Or can they? And then the last book that has inspired this book is Ted Hughes' Birthday Letters. And this is not a novel, and it's not a verse novel, it's not a novel at all. It's obviously a collection of poems, but I think that they work in a kind of a linear way, and it's it's a love story really to Sylvia Plath. And I read this again and again. I mean, as I opened it, you could probably see my notes in the middle of it. I come back to this book again and again. And as I was writing my novel, I came to this novel again and again for inspiration. So those are my 3 books that I would recommend. I love all of them. Ted Hughes' Birthday Letters, a love letter to Sylvia Plath. Jeanette Winterson's The Passion. I love all of her books, but that's the one that I came to when I'm 17 years old, and I read about once a year. And Out of the Dust by Karen Hesse. And then if you want something new, you know, try that. See you later, guys. Bye.